Okay, well, hi everyone. As Gary said, my name is Isaiah. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Oxfolium Health. We're developing biomaterials for tissue infections and regeneration. About 2 years ago, I met a young guy around my age from Texas named Ty, who told me he went in for routine surgery on his ankle. After surgery, the surgeon put a dressing over his incision and told Ty not to change it for 10 days and come back and see him. As a result of this, Ty developed a staph infection from biofilm so bad that he had to be readmitted. His Achilles was then removed, and Ty told me he's just trying to prevent his foot from being amputated. About a year ago, I broke my ankle, had to go in and have surgery. After surgery, the surgeon came out and said the exact same thing to me. Isaiah, we're going to put this on, come back and see me in 10 days. Thankfully, my wounds did not become infected, but stories like Ty's are not uncommon, right? We see that today, infections are really addressed after they emerged. Really reactive in our healthcare practices. And why is this? And why is this a problem? Well, the problem is we often catch these things too late, right? The damage is already done. In Ty's scenario, he had to have his Achilles removed, and now it's just getting worse and worse. We see that on average, it takes around 2 days for a tissue culture to come back and tell you what's going on. 3 and 4 of these microbial skin infections are actually preventable. So we move into this reactive healthcare, and now nurses are spending 430 million hours every single year changing these dressings, treating these, and trying to prevent this, right? So what happens if we could detect infection quicker? If we could prevent these preventable infections? And what if we could give the hospitals 430 million hours back every single year? And that's exactly what we're doing. With Ox, our biomaterial platform, which may just actually look like a piece of paper, but really it does some really cool things. First, detection at point of care. It actually will begin to change colors after placed on the skin tissue, correlating to infection. So now we can actually do something. But the other side is this actually allows us to heal because we also prevent these nasty biofilms that form on the tissue, which actually causes 80% of these skin microbial infections according to the NIH. So if we can detect the infections, if we can prevent the infections, saves time and this saves money. It's actually pretty simple, right? We're developing this biomaterial for point-of-care tissue diagnosis as well as skin regeneration, to where you simply apply it, it detects, it protects, it prevents, right? And then eventually, right, we regenerate the skin tissue. Now, this is patent pending. We have 3 different patent portfolios covering this, but really what we're doing is we are addressing the gaps that are critical that competitors can't. Right? Whether it's oxygen therapy, whether it's the skin subs, whether it's the silver dressings, whether it's standard of care, we see that they can do a couple of things, right? But the point of care diagnostic, the biofilm prevention, others simply cannot do this, right? And these are both huge time drivers and both huge cost drivers as well. And you can see, ease of application is something we're targeting, extended wear time as well. So we're really providing this comprehensive approach. So we're playing in the therapeutic space, we're playing in the diagnostic space that's really coined as a theragnostic, still a medical device. We're looking, first targets, hospitals, clinics, private practices that are doing this wound care, and, selling based on reimbursement. This space there's a lot of reimbursement out there, but it really comes down to strategy. Which code makes, the most sense for the business, but also which code makes the most sense for the patient and the hospital system as well. And then, of course, there's plenty of opportunities for licensing, using this biomaterial as a platform, right, for drug delivery or therapeutic delivery as well. And then, of course, some direct-to-consumer opportunities as well. And we take a step back and say, okay, where are you, right? Looking at, Champion Product Shield, which we're targeting this to prevent the biofilm, move through proof of concept, completed animal studies, we're iterating based off of that, and really targeting FDA submission for Shield end of 2025, early 2026. This is a 510K, have a predicate here, but then when we move into some of the more novelty, like the color change, you see this is a de novo. But again, we've done the proof of concept, we've done the animal studies, and we're continuing to iterate based off of that. If we can hit these projections and we can hit these milestones, right, you can see inflection points in the financial projections, and that's really what we're working to do. Market size, very large market, right? Skin, tissue, infection, very large, $80 billion. But if we just work our way down, right, the beachhead of burns that are developing a lot of these biofilms, to where, burn patients have to go in and get these biofilms scraped off of their burn, right? Extremely painful, very time sensitive. And this is really what we're working to actually prevent, not manage, but prevent. Team-wise, I did my PhD at the University of Akron in material science, worked in the startup ecosystem for around 7 years now, led teams in later stage startups, as well as help out with student-run venture funds. And then Aparna developed this technology for her PhD. And then we've been fortunate to surround ourselves with some amazing advisors, whether it's world-class, world-renowned polymer scientists, senior healthcare executives, or various physicians in diseased and damaged tissue. So historically, we brought in a little over $1 million in non-dilutive funding from state and federal agencies, the NSF, Ohio Department of Development, et cetera. We've recently started raising, have already 750 committed, really just looking for a last 253 before we close. This is going to allow us to complete some more preclinical testing and then begin to move into GLP testing, for the FDA, as well as just, build out the team and build out our footprint here in Northeast Ohio. That's what I'm saying, So what are the stakeholders saying? What are the key opinion leaders saying? The world-renowned voices for skin, tissue, and infection, like the Dr. Serena, the Dr. Armstrong, the Professor Harding. Really what they're saying is this has the potential to usher in a new era. And that's exactly what we're doing here. Because at Auxilium Health, we're developing biomaterials to treat tissue infections and regeneration. Thank you.